in Malaysia, he's the visionary and founder of Greater Springfield, Australia's fastest emerging new city, which in 2010 was declared the world's best master planned community, as awarded by the International Real Estate Federation. Greater Springfield was also the winner of the President's Award at the Urban Development Institute of Australia, Queensland in 2014. As chairman of Springfield Land Corporation, Maha is committed to changing the community building paradigm by creating a sustainable, truly master-planned city where being able to live, learn, work and play is at the very core of its architecture. He constantly reminds us that education is the currency of the future. Maha enjoys the support of 3 levels of government, which, together with the private sector, have invested nearly $12 billion in Greater Springfield's world-class infrastructure and construction. His city building project is growing by an average of $600 million annually, quite extraordinary. Both as a civil engineer and community builder, Maha has become a leading example of what can be achieved through persistence and planning. His inspirational book, Stop Not Until the Goal is Reached, can be found on the shelves of many local schools and institutions. Maha holds an honorary doctorate from the University of Southern Queensland for his contribution to education, a centenary medal from the Australian Government for his contributions to regional development, the 2003 Ernst & Young Master Entrepreneur of the Year Award for the Northern Region, the Paul Harris Fellowship from Rotary International, the Australian Institute of Management Medal for Management Innovation, the Global Organisation for People of Indian Origins International Renowned Entrepreneur Excellence Award, and the Brand Laureate Great Entrepreneur Brand Icon Award for 2015. Would you please welcome one of Queensland's top 50 thinkers, Maha Sinnathamby.
My friends, it's wonderful to be with all of you today. First, I would like to acknowledge the many ministers, planners, and senior bureaucrats from government, and I especially want to mention Ipswich City Council and the head planner, John Adams, all of our consultants, and my own team who are part of the journey for the last 25 years. Brendan Nelson, who learned a lot about Springfield before he became the head planner. Kirsty Kelly, CEO of PIA. Di Curry, President, Commonwealth Association of Planners. Todd Roll, PIA Queensland Branch. Second, I'd like to congratulate the organizers for having picked such a topical theme. Inspire, innovate, and implement. I really love it. It's very appropriate for today's society and its timely relevance to the work that you do as planning professionals. And most certainly, my story and journey of Greater Springfield, Australia's newest city. As planners, you collectively plan the future and shape of this great nation. As you plan today, so will the future of the country's face be. I always say, as you think, so you will be. So think big and you will be big. By this I mean to challenge you to step beyond the boundaries of the conventional norms and paradigms. Be disruptive. Embrace change. Embrace a different and better future. A future that you have the power to influence and create. Be inspirational, innovate, and disrupt. And implement your plan, deliver an outcome, and leave a lasting positive legacy. Friends, don't walk on the beaten path. It's very crowded. Take your own new path in life. In my case, friends, I have been disrupting the norm for many years, and I will continue to do so. Approximately 25 years ago, we commenced a journey. We set out to create Greater Springfield, a new city, from nothing but inspiration and innovation, and a very strong, uncompromising determination to implement our vision. The journey commenced when I saw this land of 2,860 hectares in size and strategically located in the city of Ipswich, 26 km from Brisbane CBD. Friends, you will never get such a large land mass under one ownership outside Perth, Adelaide, Melbourne, Sydney. You won't get it. And when you get it, you have to take it to the highest and best possible use. In our case, it was to create a very unique city. It was on the market for 9 months, and no one wanted to buy it. Major companies could have bought it with petty cash. Everyone viewed the site as having been located in an area which at that time was socially and economically very depressed. High unemployment, high crime rate, and which hosted institutional uses such as a state prison and the mental asylum, all of which had a negative stigma. 1/3 of the land was reserved for mining, and no planning except for 10% of the land for residential use. And it needed a $200 million freeway to open it up. Well, there you are. That was the challenge. Everyone said, "This is not for me." I was not put off by this. Here I ask you to think of this. Those of us who are not sculptors, we look at a rock and we see a rock. But a sculptor looks at a rock and he or she sees a very beautiful face in it, friends. That beautiful face is already in the rock. To me, there was a very beautiful city hidden in the forest. And the challenge was to bring it out. Please think of this in your own profession. I want you all to be sculptors. When you look at a piece of land, look for that beautiful face. Go beyond your imagination. Look into it deeper and deeper, and the beautiful face will emerge. It will emerge. For us, the challenge was to first buy the land. How was this possible? We had no money. Friends, we contracted to buy the land with no money. This is an absolute fact. Those of you who want to buy real estate to build a city with no money, please try and see me later on. But this bold step was in itself requires a great measure of resourcefulness and innovation. This is the truth. Who was I to commence such a journey? I had never built a city. There was no book to build a city with no money. I had no influence. But my team and I did have an innovative idea. and an absolute fierce determination to take a piece of land that no one wanted to and transform it into a city that would stimulate the development of a wider region and deliver intergenerational economic and environmental and social benefits. This was our challenge. Here I ask you to think of Canberra, the only other city built from scratch. Of course, this had the horsepower of the federal government behind it, with a full tank of fuel and their political muscle. We had nothing, friends. We had nothing but an empty tank. Creating a new city is innovation. And the challenge was to implement by inspiring everyone around us. First, I saw my planner and surveyor, two outstanding individuals. When I told them I had contracted to buy this land, they felt sorry for me. I said to them, chaps, please think of it. Try and come with a solution. They came back after 3 weeks with a grin from ear to ear, and they said, we've got the answer. You have an as of right use to chop it up into 40-acre parcels. Rural farmlets, 26 k's from Brisbane CBD will sell well. Make $12 million and go away. I said that we must consider a bigger picture, friends. We have to do something unique for this country. We've got one chance, let's do it. Here I say a motto that I strongly believe: chase the success and money will follow. So my planning journey commenced, and my planner and I traveled the world benchmarking 15 successful master plan communities. Every one we looked at lacked at least one or another facility. 2 were just dormitory suburbs. 3 did not have any rail line. 2 did not have a university or a major educational facilities. 1 did not have a major hospital campus, and 2 did not have a major regional shopping center. And we said, we'll have everything in our land. We can draw what we want. Of course, you can draw what you want, but you need the approvals. The next challenge was to get the government to give me an approval to build this city. First, I was told by the minister and the bureaucrats that the development was an out-of-sequence development. After repeated attempts, I encouraged the minister to visit the site. He went with a driver, could not find the place, got lost, came back to the office, and he said, who the dash, 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 dash would live here? You work it out. Then finally, after great perseverance, the government thought they could get rid of me by saying that the only city that had been built in the country from scratch was Canberra, and that was 60 years ago. And for them to give an approval for a new city, we would need validating legislation and an act of parliament. Friends, many would have left the job. We kept going. Many a time we had meetings with bureaucrats and the minister, and they all could not see the need for a new city. Many a time I would come back from those meetings and I would say to my staff, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. You will experience this all the time, friends. You will experience this. If you want to do something unique, have the unlimited faith in yourself. Here I'd like you to take something back. Throughout the history of mankind, if any motive power has been more potent than another in the lives of all great men and women, it is that faith in themselves. Born with a consciousness that they were to be great, they became great. Finally, after 4.5 years, our project went to Parliament, and that night, all the 89 parliamentarians in Queensland Parliament turned up. After heated debate for about 4 hours, they were asked to vote. You may not believe this, but all the 89 hands went up. And for the first time, a city was given birth in this country other than Canberra on that night. For a story of about 25 years, there is so much to say. I would have to ask you to read my book. You will experience the pain, the determination, and the will to succeed in pursuit of this vision. Today, Greater Springfield has influenced the management of growth in Southeast Queensland. It has delivered a solution to the government's need to manage growth in a sustainable manner in Southeast Queensland. Springfield has seen us throwing a huge rock into the lake that is Southeast Queensland, which has caused significant positive ripple and influence and will continue to do so for many years to come. Our master plan has inspired many who are trying to emulate it. The vision and execution has seen our actions acknowledged, with the city declared world's best by the International Real Estate Federation and has won the top UDIA awards on 2 occasions. I'm often asked whether another Greater Springfield could be delivered somewhere in Australia. I would love to say yes. But I doubt. I'll tell you why. First, you have to have a large enough land mass under one ownership, very close to major infrastructure and or a CBD. Second, you have to have the approvals. And third, you have to have the stamina and determination against all odds to do the long march. Any new city will only take shape after 15 years, and in the meantime, you have to survive change in the political scene and be financially strong. Governments cannot do this due to the short-term political cycles. Look at the case when Prime Minister Whitlam tried to create a new city called Albury-Wodonga. Fraser came back and it disappeared. Public companies cannot do it due to short terms of the CEO, and also a long-term project like this could take up to 25, 30, 50 years and will have many years with no income. Public companies need to show profit each year. So work it out yourself. So today, after nearly 25 years of few ups and many, many downs, including a threat by the banks to appoint a liquidator on our 7th year, due to having very serious financial problems, the project is moving very rapidly. It has to date experienced a direct and indirect investment of over $12 billion and is experiencing a construction activity of over $600 million per annum and increasing at about 18 to 20%. A quarter of a century after I began this seemingly impossible journey, the Queensland government acknowledged 3 months ago the importance of Greater Springfield. And here I quote the Queensland Premier: Greater Springfield is a multi-billion-dollar contributor to the Queensland economy. It is a city in what was a barren area and now one of the fastest growing areas in the state and the third fastest in the country. A master plan for a city that delivers for the state by bringing investment and new opportunities. Only 3.3% unemployment, friends, and a strong commitment to enhance human and social capital. I am committed to this. Very important. A prime example of what long-term planning and implementation can achieve. Please think of this. In fact, our vision has been embraced by the community and the 3 levels of government, with 7 premiers and 6 prime ministers. After 25 years, Springfield is being described as a nation-building exemplar, a building block of the nation. Because of the example it is setting in relation to planning and infrastructure. This is the best example of innovation. Springfield is planned as a compact urban city with 33% open space, where a person living has access to everything within 5 minutes. The CBD of Springfield is 369 hectares. Brisbane Central Traffic Area is 156 hectares. Sydney is 161. Melbourne is 240. It's an example of what can be achieved when we all of us, never give up in our pursuit of our vision. And that's an important takeaway message for each of you today. The power of the 3 Ps, friends, please think of this. In government circles, they call it public-private partnership. I call it persistence, persistence, and persistence. And never, 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 never give up. I like to say something that you may want to take. There is something in human nature that if you believe in something that is right and legal, and if you need the consent of someone who says to you, it cannot be done, it has never been done before, and you will fail, just believe in yourself and keep on going and never, never, ever give up on that belief. Don't demean yourself. Just keep pursuing and pursuing, and the other side will eventually give up because you will wear them down. You are determined to wear them down. This is the mantra of our journey. In Greater Springfield, we estimate that conservatively we will be totaling upwards of $85 billion before we even look like finishing. We have a $1.2 billion rail line with 2 railway stations that has carried close to 2.5 million passengers in the first 2 years alone. The core of our master plan is a CBD with approval for 2.6 million square meters of mixed-use space and we have approval for 46,000 dwellings, inclusive of 23,000 dwelling units in the CBD. Friends, Greater Springfield is built on three cornerstones. I am not a developer. I am a community builder. And so the three cornerstones is education, health, and IT. I let you out on a secret. Education is the soul of Springfield. I'm truly, truly committed to this. Education is a currency of our future. Education is the only currency that can be cashed anywhere in the world. And education is the only currency that cannot be stolen from the owner. Please think of it. And as you all know, the best gift for a person is a gift of a proper education and training. In the earlier session, we heard about training and retraining, how 50% of the jobs will be lost in the next 10 years. Training and retraining. Here I give you an example of how important retraining is. The motor mechanic at the age of 18 is now 48, unemployed. The car has changed, the man hasn't changed. So we need continuous training and retraining. We want at least one in of our 3 residents working within the city. Very, very important for you, gentlemen, as friends, as planners. It is about sustainability. On health, we have got 52 hectares, 1/3 the land area of Brisbane CBD, is the largest single site totally devoted to health, where there is approval for over 1 million square meters of health facilities. Compare this with Brisbane CBD, which has 1.6 million square meters of office buildings. That is 55% of the Brisbane CBD is totally committed to health, human health. We have an approval for 1,200 bed hospital. The first stage has already been completed by Marta. 320 healthcare providers in one spot. Strong research and development. And 2,500 seniors living in one entity. Final cost of this project is over $1 billion, and shopping facilities and other facilities. We had Harvard Medical International to advise us on health. Friends, in Australia, 55% of the state and federal budget is for education and health. We have made education and health as an economic driver for sustainability and prosperity, and this gets the strong attention of the 3 levels of government. The total cost of this development on completion is $6.2 billion and will provide direct employment to about 12,000. On IT, Springfield was conceived with an understanding of the importance of technology to communities moving forward. As a cornerstone, our IT hub, we have a $280 million data center we own and operate. This is the second biggest data center in Southern Hemisphere and one of the most protected. I'm sure you all want to know a little bit about my background. Friends, I was born in war-torn Malaysia in a remote village with no electricity and very little running water. I studied under a kerosene lamp, and life was hard and I come from a very, very humble family. I was 4 when the Japanese came to our house and they shot our Alsatian dog, which was protecting my father. My dad was a British informant and British sympathizer. 142 went to prison, 2 came out of alive, and Dad was one. I was a mediocre student in school. I failed in school and I had to repeat. At the age of 17 and a half, my parents somehow found some money to send me to Sydney to study. I went to University of New South Wales to do civil engineering. A 4-year course took 6 years for me. I failed the first year. Those days, you had to do 8 subjects in the first year. If you failed one, you repeated a lot. I went to second year, I failed again. And this time I was really upset, not for me, but for my parents. I wrote to Dad and I said, Dad, I'm very sorry I let you down. And I thought he would get upset and write me a letter that he was upset. But this is what he said. Son, just keep going. The darkest night brings the brightest dawn. From then on, I cried and cried and cried, and from then on I never failed. But there is something to learn from here, friends. I'm saying this for a special purpose. We all will have dark nights in our life. We all will. It may last a few months, it may last a few years. It may come in the form of ill health, financial problems, or friends letting you down. It could come in any form. But when you have your failures, just say to yourself, tomorrow the sun will come. Have that strong sense of faith in that. The sun will come tomorrow. I will be better off. After graduating, I joined the Sydney Water Board, worked for a while, then went back and worked with a firm that was doing World Bank and Asian Development Bank jobs. Worked for 5.5 years. Really did very well for the first time. Then decided to migrate to Australia. Came to Australia in 1972. The Australia of 1972 was totally different from the Australia that I left in 68. The mining boom had collapsed completely, worse than what we have got today. Most of the professionals were walking in the streets with no jobs. I wrote to about 42 firms for a job. No one replied. The unemployment office said to me once, twice, 3 times, go and join the dole queue. You've got wife and 3 children, go and join the dole queue. I reluctantly went to the dole queue dressed in a suit and tie. Ahead of me were 30 individuals in shorts and thongs and sleeveless shirts. The queue was moving slowly. I said, I don't belong here. I will not demean myself collecting money for work that I have not done. I walked out, cried and cried. The next week I became a real estate agent. And when I was not selling real estate, I teamed up with a Swedish migrant. He was walking along. He was also unemployed, walking the streets. And he said to me, we'll make a fortune. I said, doing what? He said, Australia has just gone metric, and there is this ruler. Metric on one side, imperial on the other side. He said, we can sell this and we'll make a fortune. We went, when we were not selling real estate, we went from one hardware shop to the other hardware shop trying to sell it. Not much luck. One day I sold 30. I went to my wife and I said, I've conquered the world. She said, you haven't conquered anything yet. So, this went on for a while. Family had to be fed. I got a job as the Department of Public Works wrote to me and said, there's a job as a civil engineer, we want you. Went up and worked there for 4.5 years. Did not really enjoy it. left the place with a fellow civil engineer, went out with a few $1,000s to start as a builder developer. And friends, everything we touched in the first 5 years went gold. It was all gold. And by the end of 5.5 years, we got a $7 million balance sheet. The financiers and our bankers and the accountants said, you must go public. We went public to raise $14 million, raised the $14 million, had a technical fault, had to return it back, and the whole empire crashed. I became a negative millionaire. Those of you who want to know what a negative millionaire is a fellow who owes millions more than he's worth. Friends, that's what life is. I battled the creditors. These were my darkest days. My first trip to hell. I went to hell and I saw a lot of my colleagues burning in hell. Somehow, we paid most of our debt, had a creditors meeting, walked out of it to start life again. Completely physically and emotionally drained, but with wife and 4 kids by now, had to just start all over again with a few $1,000s. I say this to you because you will all have failures. But when you have failures, you get up and go. Never, never give up. Remember, the darkest nights brings the brightest day. This is when I came across my business partner, my present business partner in 1985, Bob Sharpless, wonderful man. We left Perth, came to Brisbane. That's where we contracted Greater Springfield. From then on, you know the story. We followed the politicians after having contracted Springfield day and night to get them appreciate what we were doing. In fact, former Premier Beattie recently confided to a reporter that had there been stalking laws, then I would have been locked up in the prison. That shows the power of persistence. We kept developing Springfield, building houses and selling it from 92 to 97. Then all of a sudden the real estate market fell down. We could not pay our interest for 12 months with our financiers. They summoned us up, summoned Bob Sharpless and me, and they said, you chaps haven't paid interest for 12 months. We want our money back in 30 days. Otherwise, we'll appoint a liquidator. Another dark night. Well, friends, this is the second time I went to hell. And when I went to hell this time, I saw my colleagues from the first time still burning in hell. This is why I'm a bit brown. I don't want to go to hell anymore. I don't want to go to hell anymore. I'll cut the story short. We somehow did a deal with a public company and we managed to pay the debt and got out of it. In the immediate future, Greater Springfield is moving at a rapid pace and has many organizations who are driving it hard for their financial success. Friends, as I finish up, let me say, we live in the greatest country in the earth. The 6th largest in the world, 2/3 the size of India and China in land area combined. They have 2.5 million people. We have 23 million people. Unlimited natural resources, 4,500 kilometers of ocean frontage, a political system where in the eyes of the law everyone is equal. What do you want? What else you want? A beautiful climate. But we have to innovate. We have to innovate and rise up and realize the country's full potential. Huge potential. In conclusion, I truly commend the Planning Institute on hosting this great conference. based on the themes of inspire, innovate, and implement. I'd like to leave you all with a quote from Gandhi, who is an idol of mine. Something that I sincerely believe is relevant to urban planners. Be the change you want to see in the world. Be the change you want to see in our cities and communities and in this great country of Australia. And always remember, friends, you are the creator of your own destiny. And as you think, so you become. So think big, think really big, and you'll be big. Thank you.